Hi there, Release Fire here. So I'm going to talk you through how to beat Consul K in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. As ever, hopefully the video helps you out. If it does, drop me a like below. When I started taking him on, it seemed like it was going to be tough, and I thought I was going to need to level up and grind to be able to do it, but as it turns out I didn't. And the reason I avoided it is because I realized that actually all I needed to do to stay in the fight was to have extra medic gunners, so that with an extra medic gunner and with the tactician, so then I'd have 3 people to heal myself throughout the fight, and that definitely helps. I had Noah as a Zephyr, who's a tank, and I'll talk you through that throughout the fight. I then had Mio as the medic gunner, Uni as a medic gunner, Taeon as a tactician, Lance as a swordsman, which means that you get the break, topple, daze combo, which is really important, and then finally Senna as the heavy guard, which gives you another tank to stay in the game. And then when you get into the fight, you should be able to see how much of an absolute beast Noah is as a Zephyr. You can see he doesn't do like loads and loads of damage. He's chipping away kind of nicely. But when you see the fight getting into a little bit of the later stages, you'll see how much damage he can take and how much he avoids and how much he just helps the entire team stay in the game. And then with him getting so much of the focus, you can see a lot of Consul K's focus is on Noah at this time. It means the rest of your team, with the extra healing and extra reviving opportunities with 2 medic gunners and 1 tactician, it just means your entire team can stay in the fight and help you to beat the boss a whole lot easier. In terms of the gems, I've got everybody in the team with Ironclad 2, which just gives a huge chunk of HP to all of them. So again, that kind of helped to make sure nobody kind of completely went out and I lost all of my medic gunners and wasn't able to revive everybody, which is really annoying. So it's a good thing to avoid. And then for accessories, I focused on things like heavy guards and HP boosts and things like that for the most part, except for Noah, who I gave the Garnet, and that gives him a 10% attack boost for every enemy in the fight. So when the enemies go up, you get an attack boost, which helps out. If you don't have the Garnet yet, or you're not too sure where to get it from, you can get it from the trader pawn in the tunnel, not too far from the Consul K boss fight, so it should be easy for you to pick up at this stage and use it in the fight. When Consul K brings in extra guards to fight with him, you can see as Kevez's blocker, I tended to focus on trying to beat them to be able to reduce the amount of people in the fight, and they're easier to take out of the equation than Consul K is, obviously, because they're just grunts, so you should be able to focus on them, chip them down, and get them out of the way. However, I didn't do that exclusively. Sometimes I'd focus my attacks on Consul K to help my team regen or revive. If I see somebody going down, then I'll switch attention onto Consul K, which will buy them enough time to be able to revive the team and get everybody in good health. You can see I've pretty much got full health across the board still, even though Consul K is down to half health. Now you can see here that Noah's taking a lot of damage, but because I've got so many people that can heal him, they're all just bringing him back in the game. And then obviously you can whip out into Lincoln to bring in your Ouroboros to do a good chunk of damage, but sometimes you'll be locked into attacking some of the extra guards that come in. So that's just something you have to deal with. You can see the chains are locking me into fighting him, so I need to focus on him, which isn't a bad thing because it takes out an extra person in the background who could be chipping away at the health of one of your teammates or yourself, which will make it very difficult to win this boss fight. Cycle through your arts to be able to do bigger damage to the grunts around the outside, and obviously you'll do that against Consul K as well. But you should also see that I've got a chain attack activated, and I haven't used it yet, and I kind of tend to save that for the right moment. For me, it might not be the right moment for you, but it's kind of what felt like it was working well for me, and I tend to use it when Consul K's in rage, and then when I didn't have anybody else to fight. So I wanted to try to get as far through the fight without bringing on the chain attack to be able to do the best damage at the right time and also to heal up my team. So I used the chain attacks predominantly to heal my team. So I'm down to about 30% of Consul K's health at this stage, and I still haven't used the chain attack, and my team are just now starting to get low on health across the board, and that's when I initiate my chain, and I always focus on things that are going to give me benefit outside of chain. So for example, to increase defender aggro by 30% and get an attack up for everybody in my team, what that means is that when I get into the rest of the fight after the chain, Noah and Senna are going to get more aggro and the rest of my team is all going to get an attack up, and that's just going to help me to chip away. Now you can also see that I'm focusing a lot of my moves in chain on healing. So all of my characters have got low health, but by the end of the chain they're all looking super healthy and able to make it through the last third in the fight. Ideally you want to get 3 full chains if you can, but it's not desperately important. Getting 2 and a little bit of extra will be helpful, because essentially the idea is that by the end of the chain you want to have a full and healthy team with a good amount of health, and also to have done a good chunk of damage to Consul K, and by the time you come out of it you'll be in a really good position to finish him off. The reason you want to get as many chains as possible is because of the huge damage you do on Consul K at the end of it, so you get like a special attack, and also it means you'll get reactivations in the next round which gives you extra heals. So Taeon came back in the final chain to be able to bring my team up, and you can see how healthy most of them are. Senna's the only one that's not doing great, but because I've got so many people that can heal, she's kept in the fight relatively comfortably even though she's close to being finished. And when she does go down like she is now, then I've got 3 members in my team that can revive her and give her some more health. At this stage, when you're back in the fight, you're just cycling through all of your options. So interlinking, you're using all of your arts, you're using your fusion, you're using your critical strikes, you're using everything you can to chip away. But if you find Noah, your main character, is low on health, what you can do is move him to a position where he's closer to some of the healers so that he can get a bit of extra health anytime they use one of their healing arts. And I think the best one is Vortex. So if you don't have Vortex for your medic gunners, then try and put that in. It will help if you've got this as a process where you kind of move to pick up some extra health whenever you need it. And you can see how important all that health is, so that my team now, you can see they're all back to pretty much full health. Consul K is down to this last 10%. It looks like it's a foregone conclusion at this stage because the strategy has just all come together perfectly. And then it's just the case of bringing out your Ouroboros, doing as much damage as you can, and then finishing off with the art to be able to beat Consul K and move on to the next section of the story progression. Like I said earlier, hopefully that video helps you out and helps you beat Consul K. There should be some tips to help you get over the line. If it does, don't forget to drop that like below. It is massively appreciated. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already with the link on the left hand side, and see more of my guide videos for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 with the links on the right hand side. Leave any comments, let me know how you get on against Consul K, and I will catch you next time.